Vladimir, hi, how are you doing?
Hello, the match is finished. Of course, we were preparing hardly and we have a great team. So, once my pay tribute for each of them, and it was a great journey, not only this match, but a long way on the qualification, also on candidate tournament. And no, of course, I think we had chances to fight till to the last pound, let's just say, but the match turned out unfortunate for us, and we lost it. So we just accept it and make some conclusions.
I want to go over the games with you of the match, but before that, I saw a picture of Jan yesterday on Instagram where it was you. There was Evgeny Tomashevsky, and of course, we know Karjakin as a team member. Was there anyone else who can be revealed?
In this picture, you also saw Ildar Khairulin, yeah,
Yes,
so the long
Khairulin.
friend and helper of Jan, and Evgeny Tomashevsky joined us before the match, and no, of course, yeah, his help is also big. He's a big chess player and analytical part. So of course we have like a big team, and but it's always like a privilege of a chess player to reveal all the guys first, and I don't want to steal it from Jan.
But there are many more people who have
Yeah, of
helped.
course, we had like a good analytical team, so our core, and it was great. And I also sparring partners, and besides chess help was also big part.
And what was your role? Were you the one who was coordinating everything with all the players?
Yeah, because team is big, so of course the main task is like coordination, but also looking what is Jan mood, so like trying to be flexible to it according to situation, because we like know with Jan already for a long time, uh, and also chess part, so looking for some ideas and many stuff. So I mean, it's not so easy to describe it like in one sentence.
Yes, for sure. I mean, you were also there after the games. You were always before the game. You were with him after the game also. I believe when you were going from the venue to the press conference, you would speak to him as well, tell him about the game.
Yeah, we have like this kind of habit with Jan already for many years. So before the game, we are coming together, and then I'm meeting him at this point. So because for me, it's also very important the first impression of Jan. So not all this code engine evaluation, but just to see what Jan is thinking about the game, and then to adjust our strategy, and talking to Jan. It's very important, and also to share these impressions with the team.
So the candidates ended, let's say around April, right? So from then, already the work began, or how was it?
Yes,
No, thank you.
yes, that's for sure. So April, in the end of April, it was finished. Yeah, happily for us, because it was also a long part divided into two tournaments, like 1 year break, and something remarkable. And from May, we started already planning the things. Also, our team became more bigger, and of course, like we need some time for rest. So the half of May we just spent for recharging energy, and then we started to work also we are in the end of May. And I also should admit that for Jan it was a great motivation, and I see that how hard he worked, and it's not only the words that chess became the second air for Jan during this part. And of course, I think we know how chess appreciates those who works hard, and I also believe that later it will turn out to help Jan, and to reach all the levels.
Amazing, amazing. It was not just chess. I think he also worked on his fitness, as has been spoken about. He got very fit for this event. And when you work for such camps, is the focus only around openings or also on other parts of the game?
No, of course, openings is very important part, but before the event, you also need to solve some, let's say, puzzle studies, to have some interest to the game, so some beauties of chess, also playing some games, and especially since now is mostly we are living like an online world, and after the game debates, most of the part was during online events. It was also very important for us to feel the live chess pieces, how it is, and to play as much as we can over the live board, because there's a huge difference.
Yes.
So, for example, also this match is something special. It's for the first time, once the players were mostly already in this online world, they came back to the real chess, and this difference also can be very tricky.
That's why Jan would many times go into that break room and was looking at the board on the screen because it's more closer to online chess.
Yeah, but also for me, for example, would be maybe better idea if in the restaurant will be not like a screen, but also leave chess pieces, because now technologically it's possible when the move is done, they're just moving like a demo board, yeah, and it will be like closer to reality also, yeah. So
But you can't make the move.
no, you can't, yeah, but I mean like a demo, yes, a demonstration, so it will be maybe more natural also for the chess players.
Interesting. Okay, so going to the game, the first game, Jan got the white pieces, and was it like everyone was debating whether he would go e4 or c4, because these are the two moves he has played, but e4 was, I guess, the main weapon.
Yeah, e4 is the move Jan's from the childhood, and the move that he likes, and also on press conference he told that he will prefer e4 once the other options will be restricted. And of course, the first game was very important for us because we understand that for especially for the challenger, it's something new situation, and big attention from media, from spectators, and this new atmosphere. So you need just to get into the match, just to play one game and trying to control the things.
Yeah. So it was, I mean, Carlsen's response was the very classical e4, e5, and he chose the Ruy Lopez, I mean, the main line, the Marshall system here.
Yeah, of course.
It would be one of the main considerations.
Yeah, of course, we expected from Magnus this kind of approach, but also considered a lot of other things. So interesting that he chose the same strategy like against Sergey Karjakin in 2016. Yeah. Maybe there is something connection that he thinks this is better opening, because once he already started to play this in September, and we mentioned this and kept an eye that it's very likely possible in the match.
Right, and first game was h3. It's not the main move, yeah, in the position.
But it's hard to say what the main move is.
a4, right?
Yeah, because
which we started.
Yeah, can be a4 is principal one, but h3 is also very principal, because black need to know the reaction, and it will be interesting to see. Maybe we thought that it will be like a more surprising move for Magnus in the first game as well.
And one thing which I noticed was Jan was very well remembering his stuff. It is not easy, actually. I thought when it comes to remembering lines, Jan did better than Magnus in the match.
Yeah, I think we should pay tribute, for Jan, great work, because he really did an amazing job, and going through many lines and information, because of course now it's very huge, and Magnus also played not like a sideline, but of course it's not, you will not consider it like a main weapon, and even here, so Jan was not surprised, so he just played his preparation.
Yeah. Just took here, and also he found this move king f1. I mean, he knew it, he remembered it, and did you think at this point that he was fighting for an advantage here, or in your analysis it was like, okay, it's equal-ish?
Yeah, we saw this position during preparation, so there are a lot of like these versions when black can sacrifice a pawn and played like martial style, so for two bishops and seeking for compensation, but of course they have not more than a draw, yeah, so it's not like you're playing for a great chess, I mean, some fighting for three results, but just you're trying to be safe with this kind of ideas, and Yeah, Jan had in mind that it can be slightly better for white, but of course it's a very interesting approach from Magnus' team. So they just played some, let's say, not the main line, and they just believe that compensation will be enough for Magnus to control the things.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for Magnus, it was quite natural to play these positions. And maybe here, this move was not the best, but it was very logical to exchange the bishops.
Yeah, of course, bishop f4 was inaccuracy, but so you just need to be like calm. Yeah, it's just maybe regrouping some pieces. So of course, in giants they like virtuosely playing these positions, like regrouping, connecting the pieces, so protecting the pawns. Then they just may prepare this d4 at some moment to exchanging the bishops. So it's like very.
Would you say that that is
simple.
not very much Jan's style of play? Like he's very concrete many times, so this regrouping and playing calmly is not so easy.
Hard to say, because Jan is becoming a more and more universal player at this moment, and I think he's capable, to play and to see all the small details over the board. But of course, the position is not that easy like it's could be, because you're always seeking for this black activity and to keep also your, let's say, stamina at this point. It's not that easy.
True, true. And I think once this happened, maybe the position became equal. And
Yeah, at this moment I also saw that draw will be a very fine result for us, because we already not better, and Magnus can be thinking already for playing for advantage, and in the first game better to control the things already.
yes. And so Jan actually understood at this point that he has to be careful, and I think King D2 and King C2 was nice, and he got
Yeah, I liked it at the point very much, because I saw that Magnus, of course, was thinking already for more than not only just playing for a draw, and Jan just neutralized this in some small time trouble, let's say. Already the time was already less and less, but he just played some calm moves, and it ended up in a draw. So at this moment, I was very happy to see this.
Yeah, and the game ended in a draw. So actually, the first game for a challenger is always very tough because it's new and everything is. So I think a draw was a good result.
Yeah, draw is not a problem for us, of course. But I think also the first game is, in most cases, it's more problem for challenger, because it's something really new for him. But also for the world champion, the atmosphere and also the new match, and already 3 years passed from the match with Fabiano. It's also something that not happening. So I think Magnus also was getting used in this atmosphere as well.
Yeah. So moving on to the second game. And then we moved to the second game where Jan had the black pieces. And was Magnus 1 d4 surprise?
We all expected all the moves. So actually it was a matter of time, so in which order Magnus will try both of them. But of course d4, e4 is always like the most expected one.
Right. So I guess this classical approach by Jan was kind of the strategy of this match to be very solid.
No, well, we thought a bit, because it's not like only the approach to be solid, but not giving as much territory as possible in other openings where you can hit the opponent. But yes, so we saw that pushing with white and be just solid with black, and know your repertoire will be a clever idea for the match.
Yeah. Somewhere, do you in any way feel that Jan was a little too solid in this match, or maybe could have been more aggressive in the way because he is, after all, a very active and aggressive player?
Yeah, of course, I'm very happy once Jan is creating the things, and he really can do it, like surprising any player and keeping the tension, and also seeking for this options that not all the players will see. So of course this part can be like improved. Yeah. So at this moment, maybe it's like another part when you're playing the solid openings. It's possible
You
that
don't
you're
get too
sticking to
many,
this road. Yeah.
right? You don't get too many creative chances.
Yeah, but it's also according to situation in the match. So once it's like in a close score, so you can be um, like confident with the things once you are controlling them. But if it turns out it does not already work, you can already include some more creative chess, and also so Jan is always ready to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the choice here with b5 is a very principled one because it's very concrete, and once you play this, opponent has limited options.
Yeah, b5 for sure is one of the moves when you're trying not to give white some space and a long game. So you just ask the question immediately if white will be satisfied with some, let's say, try, which can black possibly no, or they should create something and taking more risk as usual.
And what did you guys analyze 95 for? I know that you would have seen it, but was enough attention given to this move?
Yeah, of course, 95 came out like a surprise because we considered this option, so we paid some time, but not like in details. So at this moment, Jan was thinking over the board and decided the things himself. But you know, for me, for example, like as a coach, is also sometimes even bigger achievement if it's not like everything from home, but if we study some openings and Jan just can be capable to overcome some difficulties and surprises over the board. So, for example, I think one of the best tries is like in Candidates, he did in the first round against Anish. So once Anish tried some rare idea in English opening, but Jan was very good in reacting, and then he put it a lot of pressure in the game and won in the end. And he also, I think at this moment, Jan reaction was very good, so I was quite happy that Jan is playing some human moves and keeping the pressure. Yeah.
I thought it would be also like other way, like when such a move comes, you're like, oh, we should have paid attention to this in preparation. Does that also happen?
Oh, no, of course, partly, yeah, but anyway, it already happened, so we need to keep our head cold-blooded and see what's going, and also to prepare for the next games.
Right. And were you happy with Jan's overall reaction here? Because I think he had options here, knight d5 or c6, and he had to figure it out on his own.
Yeah, c6 was good move, so I think Jan was sticking to some typical ideas of Catalan still, and in connection with knight d5. But later, starting already with f6 and queen d7, was sorting these things by his own. No, of course, the computer will show that b4 is more principal,
Yes.
and you can play this way. But to me, I was quite happy with queen d7 move because it's kind of human, and it was not like in Magnus Radar optically. So he also needed to go into this, let's say, house position and trying to solve on his own.
Yeah, and when the knight came to d3, I think at this point, I started to feel that the position for Jan is very dangerous.
Yeah, so of course, if white will choose the best one, possible option in the position, so I think like taking on f6 maybe was a try, and then bishop a6. So this position remains quite risky for black, yeah, because king is weak. So once knight will be removed from d3,
But somehow it's not easy, yeah, to
yeah, but
remove it.
it's not that simple. So of course, like from an analytical point of view, it's better for white, but it's still some long game.
Right, right. So it was not very clear. And when Magnus played 95, I was like, yes, engines are giving it better for black, but on the board, it's not so simple to figure out that bishop takes e5 and knight c5 is the right way to go.
Yeah, I was quite impressed that Jan just played it very quickly, and he saw the take on e5, knight c5, and also you just trying to exchange the knight, or you're going to b3, so six started to be very concrete, and I think Magnus already need to be here very precise to keep this dynamical equality.
Yes. And I think at this point, let's say in the match when Magnus played this way,
Maybe you can also see, because I think bishop e3, I was quite
yes.
surprised that
Magnus
Magnus
didn't
hadn't played, because no, I think in these positions you try to keep this dark square bishop in most of the cases. I don't know, maybe Magnus underestimated something.
Magnus said in the press conference that he didn't want this knight to stay on d3. So if bishop e3, maybe take, the knight is still there, and maybe he didn't like that.
Yeah, of course, it's maybe a position not only like choosing the move, but also you're feeling some psychological one. So you don't want to give an attack from black side, and from white you don't want to see some active pieces.
Right. And I guess the mood in the camp would be very excited right now, because it's like first game ended in a draw, and now game 2, surprise, but you have a chance to win.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's of course was our overall feeling, that Jan is playing very good, and he's like giving a pressure with black for Magnus in this very not easy situation. Once he was surprising the opening, because behind the knight e5, you don't know how many hours Magnus team has spent, and
Yes.
Jan was capable to solve this, because knight e5, of course, is a very pretty and interesting idea that I had in the pocket.
Right. So it's actually a great achievement over the board. But maybe this c3 move, I think Jan got a little bit worried about the kingside attack.
Yeah, that's of course to play on the win this position, you need to be very calm and just to see the things very clear. Of course, this is g6 move, and this idea with queen g7, that at some point, once you play f4, you have g5 move.
Yes.
But it's interesting, I think maybe both Jan and Magnus has not this among radar here, so it's not that easy to see all the options what you have with black, because otherwise if you don't see all these defensive ideas, you can not proceed like it could be.
But do you think that Jan got surprised here, and that he was expecting knight takes b5, and when Magnus played bishop e4, he was like, oh, I didn't consider.
Yeah, bishop e4 came also like a surprise, I think, because knight b5 is more moves that you expect. So white taking the pawn back and trying to have as much compensation as they can, but then the things will be like simplified.
Yes.
And Magnus was also putting the pressure. So I think at this moment was like more some psychological battle. So not to give initiative for your opponent.
Right. So bishop e4 and c3, and I think here this queen g7, as you mentioned, and g5.
Yeah, queen g7 is strong. If black will see this option, it can be turned out in this favor. So of course it not a winning of the game every time. So Magnus not was like losing at some point, but it was chances, good chances, I think, to win this game.
Yes. And I think in the end, even here, when the pressure started to rise on Jan, here he got this liquidation just in time, and I think got a draw. So.
Yeah, I think in this term, so Jan also keep his mind calm, and he just made a draw once it was already needed. So at this point, we were also quite happy that draw is okay.
Yes, and I think you had warmed up to the match by now with these. Like the first game was more theoretical, but the second one was a real fight.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's for the second one was like a big fight in some unknown territory for both players. So checking not only some preparation, but also how they feel the game and in what shape they came to the match.
Yeah. So when you went to the third game, did any thoughts come in the mind that let's deviate from e4, let's go for c4 or d4 or anything?
Yeah, of course, we have several options for the match prepared. So Jan was ready to play it in any moment. But I think we had this choice because we thought after h3, okay, Magnus is choosing not like a main try, and it's possible to create some problems also in principal lines. So it will be very interesting to see the reaction at least, yeah.
Or in a4.
Yeah, an a4 move.
And I think in this game, also Jan got a very interesting position. Bishop d2, knight e3, and c4. This is still preparation.
Yeah, c4, Jan had in mind these ideas.
Was g4 anyway a part of any thought here?
Yeah, g4 was also like a part of thought, yeah, but it's hard to suggest this move if you're not like thinking that this line will happen over the board.
Right.
So if you knew that Magnus will play this line, maybe you can play g4 yeah, and be very concrete. But of course, Magnus will be prepared, I think, in this g4 move, so it's a World Championship match.
How difficult is it to remember all the lines for a top player? Is that the biggest challenge in a match?
It's one of the challenges for sure. So of course now information became bigger and bigger, and also there are more and more lines that black can play. So I think before, let's say, I don't know, 10 years ago, it was maybe just a few lines that black will play in principal ways. But now any line can be built with black with very precise work. So you should really know the details to put some pressure, even to put just the pressure in every line.
Yeah. c4, and I thought here Jan was again slightly better. He was pressing, but I think Magnus neutralized it well with this move bishop c8.
Yeah, it's very interesting for us because we had some debate in team. So as it was some very clever preparation from team Magnus. No, of course, Rook is prepared, and later with this all a5 bishop c7 maneuver, because Magnus spent some time here, or he just knew these typical ideas and he figured out over the board in which move order he will use. So maybe the second one even closer, yeah. So he just knew all these ideas, and he was connecting the things.
He was just trying to recollect how it works and
trying to calculate. But of course, optically, this position looking better
beautiful.
for white. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything is under control, and it's very interesting that things just work for black to have not like full equality, but it's say very close to it.
And you felt here Jan could have played better somehow?
No, of course, the only principal move might be queen d3, but it allows d5 move, take on a6, take with queen, e d5, and black has a choice either bishop f5 or bishop d7, also is possible move. And then next move will be bishop b4. So white is still playing, so maybe it's will be a try a bit, yeah, anyway, to continue the game. But of course, the compensation is very high, and
Yes.
draw is most likely result.
And I think once this happened, it ended in a draw pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's becoming already logical part.
Yeah. So that was game 3, and then we moved to the next game where Magnus had white. I think here, when knight e5 happens in game 2 in the Catalan, some time is spent in fixing that line. Yes.
No, anyway, you just trying to make it for a confidence, let's say. So we have not expected that Magnus
He will
really
repeat
will
it.
repeat it. Yeah, so it's quite predictable that Magnus will try something else.
But you have to work on it, because if he tries it again and you are not prepared, that would look very silly.
No, a sort of a way, yeah.
So we played e4, and I think your main weapon for this match was the petroff.
Yes, obviously we choose Petrov. Also.
Why would it be obvious? Like there could be some other options also.
No, I mean obvious already during the match, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I think also Fabiano tried it with Magnus, and for Magnus team also was not easy to pose some problems for Fabiano. So it was a choice. Of course, we had like debating so which opponent to choose, and Petrov was one of them, and I think Jan really did a big job in like understanding and studying all the things.
Yeah, I think the preparation level in Petrov was phenomenal. I mean, even in this game, I think this one was entirely preparation.
Yeah, this line Jan like was analyzing himself, and he knew how to react due to the variant.
But to actually see knight h4 and to know what to do, I think even Team Magnus was impressed at this point, because he knew exactly g6. Then he knew exactly that here not knight f6 but rook fc8. This is amazing.
Yeah, of course, it's like big work of Tim and Jan especially, so he just knew the things, and it was very good sign for us because if we saw that if the things will start to repeat each round with black, so Magnus will trying to need to find something, and Jan will just show his great preparation. Will be very hard to play the match for Magnus
Yes.
in later stage.
I think at this point, everyone started to feel like breaking Yan would be very difficult for Magnus because he's so well prepared.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I think he drew also very precisely knight f8, and afterwards in the press conference he said that he had seen it.
Yeah, he basically is hard to add something. It just was a very good draw for
Yes.
Jan.
And so here the match was 2-2, and going to the fifth game. Did you once again, like, was it very natural decision that let's stick with the anti-martial a4?
No, it will be very interesting to check because, no, of course, the lines that Magnus chose in the game before, there are like, many possibilities to play on, and it will be interesting to try. And also, we saw that match is going well for us because in the first game, Jan shows that he is ready to play and facing these small surprises. In the second one, he hang out in this big battle and had even winning chances. With black he solved the problem, so why not just to continue in this the same strategy? So at this moment it was quite logical things to just let Jan to continue the match like it developing.
In just like a hypothetical sense, were you okay with, like, it's a long way off, but 6-6, sorry, 7-7, was it a good score in the mind?
No, of course, there are too many games to debate on it, whether it will be 7-7. So we just try to play like position also allows. So if it will be some possibilities to play on the win, you should play, of course, because you can't say that you just can keep the score 7-7. It's just impossible, of course, even for the greatest mind. But we were not afraid, of course, the 7-7 outcome.
You were not
because,
afraid of
yeah,
it.
because Jan is also very good in all-time controls. No, of course, we also know that Magnus is a great
Yes.
player in Blitz and Rapid, but one day can be any outcome,
True,
and we were just not afraid of this, of course.
And here Magnus chose this move, rook b8 this time instead of bishop b7. Was this a surprise or?
Well, Magnus was already playing it with Duda in summer during World Cup. So of course this rook b8 is something new, very interesting that even without this a5, black can play all these main lines in Marshall, like Marshall ideas. So I think it was maybe kind of approach of Team Magnus to play some positions mostly for initiative still, and that not like some very main. So rook b8, but maybe in the future will be rook b8 already main move for black. So who knows?
Yeah, I think Peter Heine said that it's a very sophisticated move because, in a way, when the bishop is here, perhaps it's misplaced. So maybe it's a choice between giving up the a file but having the bishop on the right side. Like coming.
Yeah, of course, it's like some modern already approach how to play against a4, which also some engines are helping now to understand these things. And once you understand that it's maybe less some lines and the position is more clear, it's also very possible try for black. But we are ready for this move order, and I think Jan showed good preparation that he is capable, yeah, to play against this.
I think against Duda it went this way in the World Cup, and here Magnus got a draw.
Yeah, this position happened in the game with Duda. So, yeah, of course, Black has a very big amount of options later, I think, in this line. So it's like not yet studied. So it's like some classical Marshall, but not exactly.
It should be better for White than the normal Marshall because he has the A file, but not 100%.
Yeah, maybe engines will play with each other and they will prove that it's better, but from the human point of view, it's another story.
And D5, I think Jan responded beautifully. And to remember this is amazing.
Yeah, of course, D5 is the principal move because if Black just play normal way, White has a very good setup in Spanish Ruy Lopez. So Jan was expecting this.
I think here Magnus forgot his prep perhaps and he started playing on the board.
No, it's hard to say because Bishop D6 and H6 in connection, maybe even starting with H6 more precisely, but anyway, it's the setup for Black, which is advised. So
Bishop D6
could be the point that Magnus still was in book and he knew this kind of setup, and then he was already sorting out the things by himself.
But knight e7 definitely not a good move.
Knight e7 was not the best option for, of course, for Black. So, but if you don't know the line exactly, it's not that easy to sort out some calm move like Bishop d7 or Queen e8. Why you should play in this way, and also to understand that it's very important at this part already to play not the most natural moves.
And to get Bishop e6 is the priority.
Yeah, and of course.
And so knight e7 and Bishop e3. Why would you say that Jan would have not played c4? Because for every commentator, it seemed like Jan will go c4, and it looked like the best.
Yeah, of course, c4 is very, let's say, principal option here for White. So we are not talking about some big advantage or some missed possibilities, but that's the move that you should just play and see how Magnus will react because it's putting some problems and pressure to the opponent. And of course, it will be very interesting to see how Magnus will react. But after c4, c5, I thought that Magnus during press conference he told that he's going to play this way, and White should have this bishop a4 maneuver in the pocket. So then after Queen e6, bishop coming to c6 to d5, and this position starting to be
very pleasant for White.
Yeah, it's very pleasant for White. Now, of course, like from analytical point of view, Black is maybe have more chances to hold this position than White is who is creating the problems. But it's very interesting to see what will be the reaction of Magnus here.
Yeah, that would have been, and the match was so close that even a move like c4, which is not a winning move as such, but gives a small edge, or I mean decent edge, is considered as a missed opportunity because everything was being so close till now.
Yeah, of course, no, it's just not like some missed opportunity, but no, better just, of course, to play and creating like as much problems as is possible once Black is not so precise in solving this openings problem, because of course in most of the games Magnus showed really great preparation and he was able to solve any of the issues. But here I think it was the question whether he will be comfortable with the outcome of the c4.
Yeah, true. But here, I mean, later, I think Jan was still quite ambitious.
It was slightly pleasant for White. As they say, for example, in Soviet times, or maybe Vasily Smyslov will play in this style for White and playing this endgame for advantage. And of course, if you just put your knight on c4, king on e2, and let's say if you play also later h4, h5 without being forced to play g4 also in connection. It's could be unpleasant for black. But of course, Magnus also played quite well here, and he just starting to solve the problems and find this maneuver with knight e8, knight f8.
That was very concrete. Like, it's not the most human way to defend, but he was like, okay.
Yeah, at this point also was, I think the game was very clear, like from World Championship match perspective. So White was putting pressure, but Black was very precise in solving this.
Yes, and he just exchanged the knights, and eventually the game ended in a draw. But once again, I mean, very pleasant game for Jan.
Yeah, so anyway, was the game that ended and was going not bad for us, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, till here the match was just completely even. But then came the most critical game, and as many says, this was the game which defined the event. Would you also say that game 6 was very important?
Yeah, of course. Now it's very easy to say that 6 game was a crucial one in the match. So it can be if Jan will win or even make a draw, the match will turn out to be completely different. That's one we understand. But this game was also very special because not only for the result, because it was like the hardest one in this World Championship in connection with many things. So it was the longest one, the pressure was the highest one, the things were changing over the board, and also it finished very lately, and then you still have like 2 rounds to go, so without a free day. So of course, in connecting these things, this game was very crucial.
Yeah. I mean, and as they say, it always needs 2 to tango. I think it's not just that Magnus played very well. Jan also played amazingly because he defended so well in the entire game till a point. But move g3, surprising or?
Well, of course, we were expecting that Magnus was not satisfied with this Petrov outcome because he saw the preparation was very good for Jan, and also in Catalan he would not play in so aggressive mood like he played in the game 2, because there are not so many options how you can create this house on the board and to control this. And we were expecting the strategy that he just choose the way just to play the game, just to fight without some big theoretical clash and playing just a game of chess.
So did c5 not? I mean, it's supposed to be most ambitious way, right?
c5 is a move, but once you know that e6 bishop e7 leading to Catalan, so you're not worried for some tricky move orders here.
b3, and I guess the most amazing thing which I felt was that after queen c2, Jan played queen e7 in 2 minutes, which means he was in his preparation here.
No, well, Jan also played some very natural moves, so he also was solving some stuff over the board, and he just was reacting very comfortably. So I think it's also shows that he knew very well the typical ideas, how to react against the Catalan. So, and once he's choosing Magnus some tricky move order, Jan is capable to see and decide over the board also.
But this was maybe not part of prep because or you think
not, let's say not a big prep, yeah. So it's we consider some sidelines, but so Jan was already doing the things how he thinks over the board.
And b5, I mean, this entire reaction with knight b4, bishop b7 was very impressive.
Yeah, this reaction was very good. So I think because e5 was also another move instead of b5, but it's connected with a very concrete play. So after bishop b2, e4, White has different moves. So starting with take on f6 or knight g5, and the things is starting to be very concrete here. But Black just played like a typical Catalan, so they need to neutralize the bishop on g2 and develop your bishop on b7. So it was very natural reaction, and of course it was a very good decision from Jan, of course.
And here maybe the bishop g5 move was principled.
Yeah, it's interesting that if Magnus has this like a preparation or not, because bishop g5 is like a principal try. So after h6, bishop h4, if g5, white plays a3, and this position is starting to be very unbalanced. Yeah, no, I think the position like this one should be more or less dynamically equal, but it will be very interesting battle. But another type. Maybe Magnus just was not in the mood to play this type of position in this game.
Yeah, yeah, and then I guess one of the critical moments here, because I mean, why not with the queen? Did was Jan getting ambitious at this point? Or?
I think Jan was just choosing the move according to the position, so he thought that taking this pawn is suitable, and maybe later even he can create some problems for white. So of course he understood that after queen f7 it's just some calm game, and it's sometimes white can fight for advantage with this knight on d3, like a typical Catalan knight, but obviously it's nothing special here for white, and also some more or less equal endgame here.
So would you say that gf6 was a good decision?
No, at this moment it was, I think, a good decision. So why not to take this pawn and to play on?
Yeah, yeah. So here knight d4, take, and I think black has very good activity.
Yeah, here black has, like you thought, very good active pieces. So queen came to e4, and Jan was giving a pressure here.
And did you like this move?
Well, I was a bit confused of this rook c8, so I hadn't known what is the exact evaluation. It's, of course, it's a very interesting decision for Jan, this rook c8 move. No, beside black has also some
b4, yeah.
Also like a b4 move, trying to put the bishop on c3, and I think at this moment white is not capable to play like for 3 results. So they should just take if they're making a draw immediately, or even they allow a possibility that white can be a little bit better later. So before was a practical choice. No, rook c8, yeah, so it's interesting decision. So later it could help Jan to win this game.
Yeah, queen d5, b4, a4. I mean, here there was a difference in opinion. Some said that this is a great decision. Some said that it's so dangerous that black should be lost here, which was very surprising because engines were always giving 0.00.
Yeah, but it's always like evaluation of this two rooks against queen. So it's always like by engines closer to equality, but it's very tricky, of course, since if white will regroup their pieces and they exchange all the pawns on the queen side, so it will be not a good story for black. But once black is very active, they can create some tries. But I think, of course, eventually, like a draw will be a very logical outcome of this game.
This was a mistake by Jan, but
yeah, bishop b2 wasn't the best move. So I think starting from h4, h5, this including moves maybe was not that necessary.
you mean not to play h5?
Yeah, so and also bishop b2 in the move before, but of course it's not that easy. Yeah, all this in time trouble, especially.
Yeah, I think Magnus didn't even consider rook cc2. So
yeah, rook cc2 was very tricky move, but according to engines, yeah. So once white has some time to understand that they can create a attack here, they can find it, but otherwise it's not that possible.
Yeah, it's like you have to see knight f4.
Yeah.
Then you have to see both rooks getting in and attacking.
And also maybe it's like a question of psychology, because Magnus thought at that point that playing like with natural moves, it can be a draw or at least some tries, but not like immediately some attacks that can be in a way decisive for white.
And also with 3 minutes, it's very difficult to play.
Of course, yeah, without increment especially.
Yes. Here and now, Yeah, why didn't Yan take this pawn? I mean, is it like he missed this move? He saw it and he was like, I want to try more.
Yeah, of course he saw the bishop before move. It's hard to say why. Maybe it's like already this pressure of match, and also the first time it was really some time trouble without increment in this event, and uh, of course in some calm situation you just take this pawn and play on without big risk. So you can't win this game, but you just play on and control this game. So bishop before was a good move, but still it was not a mistake. E5 was interesting try.
Yes. Here,
But at
maybe
this moment already black need to take this pawn, and so white has here rook a2, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. And black has queen g4.
or maybe something like rook c1, and then you try to save the bishop,
Yeah,
and then somewhere here, I think.
or maybe here, yes,
Yeah.
because there was some ideas with queen g4. If you don't see this geometry,
Otherwise,
it's hard to continue.
Then white is better. If white is able to win the pawn, then he would be better.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. It will be like a long defensive game for white, for black, but queen g4 is not only the move that keeping the pawn, but also allows black to play on the win later on.
Right, right. Yeah, and yeah, here things started getting very dangerous, and also Magnus missed rook c2 here.
Yeah, it was the last move
30 seconds.
before the time trouble has gone. So rook c2 was posting big problems for black.
And do you think like this position is also equal, or?
So you think, I don't know, yeah, because I think at this moment Jan chose no very practical decisions. He just wasn't thinking about queen e4, but played queen b3 and then connecting with bishop f8. It was, I think, very good decision. So at this moment also saw how Jan defended very well. So it was impressive. Also because the time trouble was here, and it was already the second time control.
I think Ian understood that knight c2 is not possible because of bishop e5, but maybe there was some kind of a moment where he just moved the queen and forgot that rook a3 is possible. Or?
Yeah, of course, it's also like connected with all this kind of pressure that was in this game. So it was not like on some empty space. So we also pay tribute to Magnus what he did in this game. So he really, with any move, he was trying to create the problems if he can. And it's easy to say once you see the just evaluation, yeah, that you can make basically any normal move and there is no threat with the queen on d3. Yes. But once you see that still you need to defend, you can overlook something. Queen e4 was one of the moves that allowed white to play on, of course.
Yeah, continue the game. Although it didn't change the evaluation, but it made the defensive task slightly difficult.
No, not even slightly, yeah, because of course before black can play just with some normal moves and play logical part, and here they should solve the problems with any move already.
Yeah.
And here also was very great, I think, that Jan played this queen b3 to also controlling both rooks, not allowing to move, because white idea is just to play knight f4 and take back with rook, but Jan
never allowed it,
and then he even forced Magnus to think if he wants to play f3 or not, because obviously f3 is not the move that you want to see all the board of
Correct,
white.
because your king starts getting a little weaker and there can be perpetuals. I mean, at this point, I felt that Jan would go wrong somewhere because it's so difficult to play, but he was making so many accurate moves.
Yeah, at this moment also it was already not that much time on the clock, and position still not that pleasant to defend, but Jan was controlling the things, so he maybe at some moment he can do better, but still everything that he did, he controlled like a draw result. So also this bishop a7 move he
Yes,
found,
amazing.
yeah, in connection with, you should see this queen d3 later.
Yes,
So
queen d3 is
yeah, so
amazing
also
because
he
both
found
the
this defensive
rooks
idea.
attacked and this is attacked. Take here.
Yeah, and here comes this position. No, of course, uh, let's say it's should be a draw, but if the time is already less on the clock and it's already like many things happened before, it's not so easy to defend this type of position.
Yeah, yeah, he went king h7 and maybe somewhere he could have gone king f5 as well.
Yeah, of course, it's this bit of, yeah, where to put your king, and these things you need to decide over the board. And but of course, it's also very easy to miss something from white, and king is coming to the center. Not this obvious move that you would choose.
Would you say that if this was, let's say, some tournament like Vaikanze or Norway chess or something like this, then making a move like king f5 is easier than in World Championship match?
No, of course, my World Championship match is something difficult according all this pressure and also resistance. So of course, you're facing Magnus, who's also putting a lot of efforts into the game, and concentration is very high. No, maybe in some, let's say, training game it will be another story, but it's a World Championship match, and Jan was ready for this.
And well, the main thing here is that it's difficult to defend as black, although the table basis say it's a draw even after h4. I mean, Jan played very well.
Yeah, Jan played, I think, very natural, and of course, it's easy to discuss whether black need to play h4, maybe even without h4 they can play this position, so not to giving a lot of squares.
To keep this G pawn as a weakness, yeah?
Yeah, that's true.
And
But it's interesting also, so black need to find some idea not to allow white to regroup, because once the knight came to g3 already with this rook, things started to go harder and harder for black, and maybe Magnus even knew this idea connected with king going on this h file with this setup with knight on g3. Everything is protected, and he found it very quickly, so it was really hard times for us here.
yeah, and okay, the final error is queen e6, but it's very difficult to understand what is the right move.
Yeah, it's of course, maybe it's better to keep your queen aside from this checks, but many things already happened. Yeah, not that easy to defend precisely on all the moves. It's very easy to make a mistake.
So you would say that in this position, Magnus understanding that knight belongs here, rook belongs here, and the king goes here is a fantastic.
Yeah, it was somehow very impressive. Of course, what he did. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he already knew this kind of setup, or either he understood it over the board to all this connection. But of course, how he put it this pressure was really very high level.
Yeah, and when this game ended, I mean, everyone was tired. But what was Jan's feeling like? What was your feeling like?
Yeah, of course, it was a big fight. So we discussed with Jan all the things after the game. Even was some press conference. Yeah, maybe it was better to go already home to have some rest. But anyway, Jan showed his sportsmanship, and he was wrecking all the questions. And
It was simply phenomenal what he was doing in the press conference. I mean, he was perhaps the most professional in press conference that any player in the World Championship has ever been after a loss. Or I mean, how was he doing it?
yeah, great. I think it's even better for you to evaluate because you know all these things good, how
Yes.
people react during this press conference. But also I got many letters, and many friends of mine were writing me that Jan, he was like a champion of hearts of spectators.
Absolutely.
And it was a great behavior of Jan, and of course it's something very that we should respect, and it's great.
Did he decide this before the game match that okay, I should do this? Did he work on it, or was it just coming spontaneously? How?
Yeah, I think it developed like already here during the match, and how Jan reacted. So it his big contribution how he do it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And after this, the match started to go downhill, but not on the next game because I think with White, once again, the anti-martial, I think there was not enough time to choose some other opening, right?
Yeah, exactly. So of course, once you just go back to hotel, like at 1 o'clock at midnight, you still need to have some food to think what went wrong about the game. Of course, it's better just to forget, but it's very easy to say. You never forget this game immediately. And of course, we knew that it will be not only hard night for Jan, but hard night for Magnus also to live with this feelings that he won this big game. But of course, we will prefer not to lose because we understood that this game will be also very important for Magnus since after the winning games, all we know that he's starting to double his level of play, and he got, let's say, somehow some ejection of confidence for the later. And it was not easy decision what to play for us. So we had to like debate in our team. So of course Jan already was resting, and just let's say in midday. So we gave this possibility to Jan just to play this a4, and we also because had some small idea to try in rook b8, and we choose this direction
Instead of c3, d3.
Yeah, so instead of c3, just to play d3 immediately. I don't know how deep was Team Magnus in studying all these different tries. Maybe they also were lack of time, I expect, after this game. No, lack of time, I mean to give material to Magnus, or even maybe not. And here was very interesting. So, of course, after bishop f8, there were another some tries for white. Not taking no6, some keeping some pressure, but Jan was also playing natural ways. He took on f6, played c3, knight e7, but here it was also like kind of impressive that Magnus find out the reaction once white plays this bishop e3 and d4, how to react. Now, of course, it's very easy to say because instead of d4 there was some rook a6 move here.
Yes.
But you need to see very good detail after rook a8. White plays queen a1, take on a6, take back with queen, and black can't win the bishop because queen b5 is coming. But it's not that easy. Yeah. But anyway, black of course is not taking on b3. After queen a6, they take on h3, queen b5, and this position. So it could be some play for white. It's very interesting, but it's very easy to say, but
if it's preparation, then you can play it. But
yeah, of course,
over the board, perhaps not easy.
Over the board, yeah. And Jan also was playing according to his mood. He played d4, which is very natural. And if black will not fight this reaction with taking b3 and knight g6, that they're just attacking e4 pawn, and it's very hard to defend. Otherwise, Jan will put real pressure, I think, in this game. He was ready to it.
And did rook a1 maybe keeping the rook on e5?
Yeah, rook a1 was more precise move. Let's say the last one in the game that white can still play on. Maybe black anyway will take on e4 here, rook c7, and there are different moves, like maybe even getting back with rook on e8 or rook e7, and it's very slightly better for white, but not a big achievement, let's say. So no, anyway, it will be a way how to continue the game, but the result can be anyway like a draw.
Yes, I think when he played c5 and this just ended in a quick draw.
Yeah, it was already logical.
And by this time, I mean, it was a good result in a way after a hard-fought game to not go downhill immediately. Just to
Yeah, of course, we were like ready to put pressure. It will be possible, but as well after this very long game, and if it will be like a draw, like a result, it's anyway something that you accept.
Yes. Did you feel like, let's say, Magnus's team, uh, Peter Heine Nilsson was here, but rest of the team was in Thailand in a different time zone.
Thailand, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you also feel that that should have been, because here you were here, Tomaszewski, Karjakin, Khairulin, everyone is here, same time zone. They also have to sleep.
Yeah.
Did that? Do you think that is an important?
Yeah, well, of course, like all the structure, how to create the team, how to also to make a connection, it's very important. So I think in this way, of course, Magnus team is very professional, and they already have like a big experience of 4 World Championship matches, and Peter Heine even more. So I think he's the guy who knows how the things can go better for Magnus, especially, and how to work in the team. And of course, they have very interesting approach to have one main guy here, and the rest is
Remote, yeah.
remote helpers. So I think with Sergey Karjakin, we also tried more or less the same position in New York. So I was there also. Alexander Motylev was nearby, but Yuri Dakhayan was in Moscow remotely. So we also was like a small core here. So here the team was bigger, so it no another approach. So but we were like preparing for this. So even during trainings we were discussing. So what is better just already during event, which in which time to connect with Jan, in which time it's better to give him without information. But because these questions are really very important during the match, just to stay in your core and let's say to create some bubble, not to allow some additional information to come into the camp, and also especially for Jan. So for us not a big problem, but not to distract and to keep the mood like it should be.
Yeah, I think also it's an important decision whether every of the second will communicate with Ian or with the player, or only there will be one person who everyone communicates and that one person communicates to the player. That's also a very important decision.
Yeah, of course, it's like a big mechanism. Yeah, so it's the things that are highly important, and of course, we also got like a big experience from this match. How it's better to create the things, and for Jan especially. So I think all this preparation, all this great chess work that Jan and all our team was doing all these years will help for sure.
For sure, yeah.
So even I was getting some very good advice from Vishy yesterday, because I remember that after World Championship match, he told that he was just resting before Khanty-Mansiysk, and he thought, yeah, before the candidates, maybe 6 months will be too much to rest, but half of it will be a clever way to make it, just to recharge the energy and to set all these things. Because I think in our career and in career of Jan were these very hard moments when there were some breaks. So, for example, this year of qualification, when Jan was invited for this Grand Prix events, we also were thinking either just to play Grand Prix and be focused on this main part to qualify, or also to accept invitation from Grand Chess Tour, but have the possibility to face the best players in the world, including Magnus, on the field. But of course, it was much more tough schedule, and you just need to. I remember we just fly to Abidjan, and then we fly back to Moscow, and in a couple of days, Jan was already playing a Grand Prix event. But we choose the hardest one because only for one reason. Since if you qualify for candidates, it's better already to fight for the first place. So it's better to be such a level of player and in such mood that you are able to to fight and really to be deserved to win this event. And eventually it was very hard since we were forced in the final moment to win this Jerusalem event. So it was like already mission not impossible, but already close to it. Also beating Maximo Shelograf on the way. And Jan was getting stronger and stronger with each round. So starting with the round with Boris Gelfand, and then in the end with V, he was already doing very well. So I think at this moment Jan also faced some difficulties. He overcame this, and he became much more stronger like a player. And here it's also, this match is a big lesson for us. And if we remember all these matches with Karpov and Kasparov, and Gary was losing with 5-0, then he learned out from Anatoly how to play better, how to also to connect the things during the match, and he was already next level player after this score. So of course we also like not only learning from this particular match for ourselves, but also learning from Magnus, from the team. So we really think that we lost for match to the greatest player of all times, and for his great professional team, and we also pay tribute for this. And of course we are learning things from them as well. And it's very interesting times for our team, for Jan especially, to see how we can take the best part from this to learn and to become stronger.
Yeah, I see on one end it's a thing where you want to have competitive results, but on the other hand you want to keep improving as a player. So these two approaches have to, because your approach is very holistic in that sense, that keep improving, keep learning, even if it didn't go our way, it will help in the next match, next candidates, which is nice.
Yeah, of course, because result, you can't say, for example, that we came for this match and we will just hope for the win. We did our best, and Jan, especially, he worked very hard to prepare, but if we got this win later from above, and we deserve it, yeah. But the things turned out not in our fortunate, but anyway, the work will not be lost. And so I believe that Jan will become stronger, and really there are many things to learn from this event, to pick up and to come back here.
Would you say that having that it has been written in some newspapers, this supercomputer, does that have any of an impact? Could you tell a bit about that supercomputer, or that's a secret?
Yeah, of course, it's no secret, because Jan also revealed that we have very big help from supercomputer from Skolkovo. Also, another friends are helping us, but it's also a tribute of Jan. He'll tell about this later. And we, of course, appreciate all the big help that we got since it helped us to did this big work. And since you see, of course, it's also a question not only to have this big course on your engine, but also to have it like in long term. So you know that in any time you just switch on the button, you have this connection, and you can look for any position. So this stability also give a big boost in preparation and big options for our team.
I think once you start working with that, you realize that what you were working before was not the best with the engine. So you kind of become addicted to it, right? Because it gives such precise evaluation, such depth.
Yeah, of course, but it's very tricky. So, for example, you should pick up the best from engines, but still you should apply it just to the player, because anyway, it's better over the board, not a battle of engines. And already you should forget about the teams, what they have done, just to play the game. And I remember, for example, during candidates in Moscow with Sergey Karjakin, what we have won, I was mostly working on engine, which is now like used in any laptop, yeah. And but some guys already had these big possibilities. And I remember, for example, once Fabiano Caruana made idea with white, I was checking and I was leaving my laptop for all the night, and still he did not show that it's dangerous for black, but I feel that it's dangerous, yeah. So it was like a combination how to analyze and also how to apply from the human point of view. So it's not only the question to have all the scores behind you and be like encouraged with. So it's a great help, but it's a big adjustment later. Because overall it's just a matter not like create the best moves and have it let's say in your database, but how to react over the board to understand. So in these terms the engines are not a big force, but just a helpers who help us
Right.
better and faster to understand the positions.
Amazing, amazing. Those are some amazing insights, and just going to the last part of the match, last 3-4 games. This one was again the Petrov. Here, something went wrong in the opening prep, or was it all planned? This move, Bishop D6 or
Well,
92 first was a slightly.
yeah, well, 92 is not the main move on the among the moves that appear. So 93 is mostly try, or even without taking on D7, white goes 93 immediately.
Yes,
Also, so
yes.
92 is kind of tricky preparation of Magnus team. So it's maybe it's also like a approach what they had on the match, trying to play some, let's say, hidden lines that are not fully focused, and you will not pay super attention. They will be really very well analyzed by the team. But Jan also he knew how to play this Petrov defense, and he knew these typical ideas. And Bishop D6 and H5 is one of the modern lines. So maybe in this particular position it's not mathematically the best, but it's still something interesting that you have in mind that these positions it's possible to play.
So he found this over the board.
Yeah, Jan decided over the board already how to play this.
Wow. Because if he was in his prep, he would have given Queen E7 check, perhaps. Which is
no,
more.
Queen E7, yeah, it's could be a
also
move,
playable.
yeah.
And I mean, here maybe somewhere in his mind he wanted to fight. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, H5, when you're making the move, you want to challenge your opponent to play and having big battle. And once Magnus was thinking for such a long time, I think he already decided in the first minutes what are the possibilities for white, and then he was fighting like psychologically. Either he is going on this, or he is just satisfied with some outcome, even though you draw already. So Queen E1 was like an invitation.
To a draw, yeah. in a
Mostly
way.
with Queen E7, he will be already, I think, satisfied with the draw. Obviously, yes.
I mean, Ian said later that he didn't see a big difference between Queen E7 and King F8. But do you think that somewhere he felt like he should play for more, like not make a quick draw because he's 1 point down in the match?
No, it was not like based on some strategies that we had to play on any position. Yeah, it's basically was once you see that Queen E1 is like an invitation for not already like a draw, but it's kind of gentleman invitation already. So and basically you just evaluate the options, and Queen E7 was no, of course a better choice, and King F8. The things that were like underestimated that white can still play on and put efforts to the game.
Yes. And I think overall he defended very well, but eventually, as we know, like this was not the best move, and he missed Queen A3 check.
Yeah, it's of course kind of pity as this blunder, and it just turned the table. So
I think once that happened, it was already very difficult to defend because it was just a pawn that dropped here, and then Magnus converted it. So it was now 2-0 down. As one of as the head coach or the head trainer, what was your strategy now? Because it was white game,
yes.
and you had to kind of strike, yeah, at this point.
Yeah, so basically we thought in our team and me especially, if you just let the things go like they're happening, we just will lose the match because it's already -2, and we see that Magnus is in very good shape, and he is not like having too much risk with white, and it's obviously hardly we just can put some pressure with black, and we should play on with white, and we really need to change the things
Yeah.
like completely. So first of all, we wanted to Jan to give some very fresh position that he will be playing with big, let's say, appetite, yeah, and C4 was one of the options that Jan chose, and it was very interesting. So yes, again, Magnus team choose to some rare
D4,
direction.
yeah.
Yeah, of course, we also kind of were looking for these directions, but it's interesting that it's also like proof that they have a different approach. So just to play some lines that you will not pay big attention, and but they still will be quite good for black. Maybe not the best one from a computer point of view or like analytical point of view, but still they're very playable, and they believe that they know some typical reaction inside.
So you choose some side variations, but you analyze it in depth. And the advantage is your opponent hasn't looked at it in depth, so it kind of compensates
Yeah,
for
it's
playing the
very
main
tricky.
line.
Yeah, of course, we are also kind of seeking for this particular line, so we had a lot in the pockets, but it's a matter of what will happen in the game. So it's always like a hidden battle
I think
between the teams.
this was a nice move. I mean,
Yeah,
you
knight
can't play
d2.
this without preparation,
Yeah,
because
knight.
generally you want to put your knight on c3, c2, or stuff like that.
Yeah, knight d2, and you connect it with the 3, so I think Jan also knew how it's better to react in these positions. And at this moment, we were very satisfied how the things are going, because position is very creative. Jan is putting pressure, so Magnus is spending time in solving this, and we were kind of optimistic of how things are going.
Yeah, and also this was the day in which I think Sergey had come.
Yeah, Sergey
And
came. Yeah, I think his role was also like already not mostly chess-wise, but some psychological support. In these terms, he played with Magnus for many years, and he knows how to play, how to adjust the strategy, and no, of course, Sergey could not come, but I think at least we are coming back with the feeling. At least we tried. Yeah, at least we tried to change the things, and we did it. Otherwise, if we not and we anyway lose the match, it will be very pity. We thought maybe we should change the things, so we did not, and we tried to do as much as we can. And I think we paid tribute to Sergey that he came here and just picked the first flight,
yeah,
and came to Dubai.
Sergey said that on the rest day before this game, it was more like, getting in a good mood. You were on I think, a boat or a luxury boat. Maybe here on this
Yeah, on the
waters.
series we have spent quite time on the sea, and
Ah.
I think it was a great time, and recharging the energy, and just refreshing your mind. We spent just less time with Jan talking about chess, but mostly just seeing about mood. Despite the team, of course, we're working. Yeah, what to do? It's we need to prepare.
Yeah, and I guess it all went very well, and I guess A3. Maybe this point you must have felt like, okay, P4, and we are in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, before was kind of a principal move, of course, but it will be very interesting to see how Magnus will react. I think he
He
thought
said that he would
during
play
break,
this.
yeah, he played this. So White need to take on B4, BC5, and need to find out the stroke B5, very tricky move. So if you see this in advance, of course, you go B4 and just play on. Rook B5 is a very important detail, and Black, I think, needs to connect very two precise move with Rook A6, take on C5, Bishop B7, and here is question if White is slightly better, or it just they're giving a pressure, and Black is still need to solve the things. If they solve, it will be okay for them. If not, but this position is kind of pretty for White anyway to
Yes,
play on.
nice structure. And but yeah, in the game he took on A3, and then I think Jan played pretty well with. He was he was moving quickly. He was making his moves fast. I think he was putting pressure. Magnus was taking more time.
Yeah, so anyway, despite of this before move, that was kind of another just direction and it's kind of principle. Jan was playing very natural, at the same time aggressive and putting the pressure and solving also problems once Magnus also did some very good counter moves.
Yeah, I think Magnus played very well also. And here, Queen B4 was a very cool move. I think after this, it was kind of equalish, the position, and maybe draw would have been the best
Yeah, of
result.
course, White needs to play just f3 here, knight h6, bishop e4, knight f5, king f2, and after taking on c4, yeah, okay, c1, this position. So black anyway most likely will make it 0, but still we need to see some moves from black, and it was less on time, Magnus, so no, still it was like a normal outcome of
Yeah,
the game.
yeah.
It was needed to do
True,
this way.
true. But yeah, C5 was, I think, one of the moves that just you cannot explain it. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it just happened, and of course it's one of the things that we should like be fixing.
True, true. And with this, I think the game became very tough because you were 3 points down. But what was the mood like in the camp? Was there still a feeling that yes, we can make a comeback, or was it like, yeah, things have gone out of hand now?
Well, of course, we just understood that things are going pretty hard for us. It's kind of we need some really big miracle, but still we were preparing Jan in these terms that we have some chances. So we just playing, choosing some complex fights. So even for the last game, Jan chooses Italian opening just
Yes.
to leave as much pieces on the board as we can and see what happens. If it's will be possible to pose the problems, we'll post it and we'll have a normal game. So at this moment we were not thinking like in terms of the match, but just to play one game in a row.
You had said that if one game we get a good result, things can be taken from there.
Yeah, because I think the match is like two people are facing. So if one is very confidently going up, the another person is not like staying in the same mood. So it's basically he's going a bit down. Yeah, what to say? It's
So if Magnus is here and Jan is here, if he wins,
yeah.
he not only goes up, but Magnus also
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
down a
that's
bit.
true. Yeah, so if he wins, Magnus doesn't remain the same situation. He also getting some distraction. He is not so confident that things are going under control, and it's kind of possibility for us as well.
Fantastic. But just one last thing here. Why the petroff in the penultimate game and why not something more aggressive?
Yeah, it could be the way. It could be the way to play more aggressive, but it was kind of overall decision. So in the team and also Jan to play the openings that we just prepared and see how it goes. Because of course we were not expecting that Magnus will put a big effort into this game since he is leading too much. But anyway, after two losses, you can't say that you just play some weird opening and you just fight for a win in
Yes.
any case. So I thought it was wise just to uh, keep your mood calm and play some normal game. And I think Jan showed that at this moment he was very professional and he just came and he played a normal game and it was a very high quality game. So I think despite of this very hard result for us, hard standings in the match. So Jan by this game anyway shows that he is able to play and nothing happened. Let's say this catastrophical, yeah. So he just playing a game that can happen in any round, in any match situation, and he
These
just
are the small victories that you take home. Yeah, like
yeah,
these
yeah.
are the
Anyway, yeah, because I think overall we didn't win the match, but we need to take something back home, some small victories. So I think anyway, Jan got more experience with this match, so any member of our team also got stronger, and we should be really proud of these things and take back this home and Also, when you recharge the energy, because now it's just better to have a rest, then we can speak how it's better to negotiate these things and build the future plans.
Yeah, you still have the candidates lined up, the next one,
Yeah,
because you
of course.
qualify directly to it.
Yeah, it's anyway big challenge. So life is full of challenges anyway, and if you're motivated, and Jan of course is motivated to be not only like a world champion, like overall, but be a better player all the time. So it's many things that he can do, and along with the team, how is do better.
Was this your second world championship match as a trainer?
Yes, exactly. So the first one was with Sergey, when I was also like a head coach. It was like a different setup and different approach. But I think with Jan now we also raised the level of team building and also the, let's say, opening preparation on the next level, how to make the things. And even when Sergey came to our camp, he was really impressed. He thought, yeah, okay, it's already something even more higher than we had before.
But how does this work? Because you were the head coach for Sergey as well as for Yan, and now maybe they will face each other in the candidates also. Is your role like? Are you comfortable with it? How does that work?
Yeah, no, for me, like I don't know how you would say about. For me, it's most important not like my role, but just result of people who I'm working with. So I just believe in Jan, and also I wish good luck to Sergey to do their best, because I think the challenge in candidates is not like facing each other, but it's like overcome yourself mostly. Since to have this small victory with you to become stronger. And I think during the candidates tournament, the last one in Ekaterinburg, which was divided into parts, it was different task, of course. For the first part, just to play chess and to do as much as you can. And for the second part, Jan was already leading. He needs to be like more cold-blooded, more professional, just to keep the points and to play in these terms. And he also like was not fighting like with let's say all these great players like Fabiano, Dink, and the rest field, but he was facing and having battle with himself, which he actually won in the end. And actually, this is also not a problem that Jan will face with Sergey, what they gonna play with each other. It's already like a very small questions in the terms that you should anyway face another challenge and also win another big battle with yourself to become
I think
stronger.
this is the biggest takeaway, and I think this is your approach. Like many people say, what would you have done differently in this match or something? But I think for you, it's not a question like that. It's like how you can learn from whatever experience and move on and get better.
Yes, that's true. Now, of course, like in terms of the match, like a head coach, I take a responsibility for result. So once we lost, it's also like my part of the job, and it's this responsibility. So maybe, and I think we could do better, like in preparation terms, and also behaving during the match. But now it's already like a history, so we just close this book, but we take the best from it and keep on moving, because it's also you can't tell that you just came here and you will win the match. We are facing the best chess player in the world. We just create as much possibilities and do the work as hard as we can, because actually all the team was just working all this half year very hard together with Jan on all the camps, and you can't regret that you did a great job. It's
It
obviously,
will pay off in the subsequent
chess
events.
is like something that will pay off for you if you just love it and you work hard, and no doubt it will be a big challenge in the future.
Phenomenal. And before parting, I just want, if you like, your thoughts on this incident which has happened, like DUBOV working for opposing team. Do you have any thoughts on that, or?
Of course, during a match, we kind of understood that Daniel can be in the team because the style that Magnus chose in Catalan. So Daniel, of course, he has a very interesting approach in analytical point of view. So it could be the way how he thinks and also creating these openings ideas. But I don't want to, let's say, debate on these things in the terms that it can, like, going in the shadow, the real problems why we lost the match. So speaking too much about this case can get out us in the wrong direction, and we are just faced great player, a great team, and we congratulate them with the victory, and we are going back home.
It's amazing, Vladimir. I understand why you have been the head coach for 2 matches, and I'm sure you will be for many, because the positivity and the perspective that you bring is so valuable to any chess player. And it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you about this match. I think thank you so much for your time that you have
Yes,
given.
thank you also for your work, and yeah, wish you good luck.
Thank you.